Hey, Slay, appreciate you taking the time today.
Like the energy, loving it.
We'll get started here with Bo and then Ed.
Hey, Slay. Nick Sirianni has talked this week about how, this game, he wants people to approach it like a regular game, like there's no difference in the playoffs. Having been to the playoffs yourself and played in a couple games, what's your experience of that? Is it like a regular game or is it different?
I would say it's a little bit different just because, only but a select few teams make it, so that's the difference about it. But the game itself, of course, there's going to be a lot of energy, but, I play it the same way. I attack it the same way, do the same game plan. Same film study. Ain't like I got to increase it or something like that, but, whatever I learn and whatever I need to learn, I'll learn it. And it be just the same with me, I just go in with the same game plan. I'm one of them guys that do the same thing every week, and I keep it the same for the whole year.
Go ahead, Ed, and then Zach.
Hey, Slay. I know, you got all the accolades this year, and rightfully so, but what has Steven Nelson meant on the other side of you this season?
A great deal, man. Older guy, leader, man, smart dude, man. We helped each other get better this year, man, for sure. And, he was a great addition to us, man. He did a lot for this team, man. It's sad to say, but, when that time comes, I hope, we do earn what he deserves because he's earning a lot of money right now for sure because he went out there been playing his best game, tackling well, covering well, been a smart dude, man. So he's been a great addition to us for sure.
Zach and then EJ. Or EJ, if you're ready, go ahead.
Hey, Slay, you mentioned, obviously been in the playoffs a couple of times in your career, but it's been a few years. I'm just curious, what does it mean to you to be back here, with like the added perspective of, knowing how hard it is to get here?
Been great, man, because, when I got traded here, that's what Philly was for. And I'm a guy that wanted to win. I wanted to be in the playoffs, man. This organization been to the playoffs plenty of times, got a Super Bowl. So that was my goal when I came here. So, man, for us to reach it this year is a great feeling, man. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the competition this year, the postseason.
We'll go to Josh and then Rube.
Hey, Slay, you've been in the NFC for a long time. Obviously, had some games in Tampa. What do you remember about that stadium? And I guess from your perspective as a veteran, when you play in a stadium repetitively, when you visit, what kind of advantage does it have to see the same environment multiple times in your career?
Shoot, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't even know how to answer that question because it don't matter where I play at, unless it's Seattle or the Saints. They stadium lit. So, shoot, I played in Tampa a couple of times, man. It's no different than playing there and shoot a home game, except for they just, somebody cheering for you and somebody ain't. So, I don't know really how to really put that question to perspective, but I just go in there and play. Shoot.
Go ahead, Ruben and Bo.
Come on, Bo.
Hey, Slay.
Ruben and Bo.
7 years in Detroit. I think you made the playoffs twice. How tough was that stretch, kind of seeing all your friends in the playoffs and the postseason, and how much do you appreciate it now? It's been 5 years since you were at this point. How much more do you appreciate it at this stage of your career? Because you kind of learn how tough it is to get here.
Right. I appreciate it a lot, man. Shoot. Man, like I said, I only been twice. This is my third time, man. Some guys ain't never been to the playoff in their NFL career. So it's a blessing for me, man. Blessing that this organization accept me in. So I'm looking forward to, man, to go out there and give it everything I got, and, man, to keep trying to lead that in the right direction. So, and for my friends, shoot, I had to watch my boy Condre go to this to the playoffs when he left us, got traded in the middle of Seattle, man, and shout outs to him, man, praying for him too as well, with his injury, man, that hurt me pretty bad this week. Besides us making it to the playoff, man, it was a bad weekend for me to see my guy go down like that. But, it's been good, though. So I appreciate the playoffs for sure.
Go ahead, Bo, and then EJ.
Slay, how much of a say do you feel like you have in the defensive game plan?
Say again?
How much of a say do you feel like you have in the defensive game plan?
It's not really a say, man. I don't go in there and just say. I just go in there and just do as I told, not as in like, Coach will love to hear my perspective, but I'm not going there to say. I just go in there and be like, hey, Coach, what you need me to do this week, man? I want to win, and he knows that. So whatever he got me doing, I'm just doing it to my best ability. So I don't really never go in there with a say. I just go in there with what I need to do to win.
And has that grown over the course of the season? Like, are you guys more on the same page now than you were in the beginning of the year?
Oh no, we've been on the same page since we've been here. He been in Minnesota, so we've been seeing each other for a long time. When I was in Detroit, so we just click instantly. And then my DB coach, man, Denard. So we all kind of locked in quick, man. We just got the same goal. Hey, coach, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. And that's what they put me in the right position to make the plays I need to make.
We'll take one more for Slay. So go ahead, EJ.
Hey, Slay. So you mentioned earlier this season, Rasheed Mathis and Chris Houston and kind of like the role they had as a mentor for you. I'm just wondering if you have any like distinct memories with those guys from that time.
Yeah, I got a real good one, man. Definitely from Rasheed Mathis, man. My rookie year, Jim Schwartz was my head coach, and this makes it funny because he got me over here. He vouched for me to come over here too as well. My first 3 games, he benched me 2 times back to back. I gave up a dig and go. He benched me. Some other play that I had the running back doing a wheel, he scored in Arizona. He benched me. Kind of shocked my confidence a little bit, as a player because I was a young rookie. And Rasheed Mathis came up to me during the third game, not during the third game, but a week of the third game, walked up to me and said, "Hey, Slay, all I'm here to do is to be your guidebook. This is your DB room. This is your secondary, man. You the future. You got a lot of potential, a lot of everything." And made me feel real confident in myself more, made me play a little more confident just knowing that a guy that's willing to open his hand up and let me know that's my room and that he's still here to help me out, be a great player. Because a lot of guys don't do that in the league. A lot of guys don't be out here trying to help another guy get better. They want to just take their position and, because there's money on the line. But not with Rasheed, man. He was just a guy that just stood tall and, wanted the best for me. And I've been going out there really playing for him, set his tone because he kind of leading my way. So shout out to Rasheed Mathis, man, my OG. Man, helped me become who I am today.
Thanks, Slay.
Yep.
Thanks for the time, Slay. Hey, TJ, appreciate you taking the time today.
Of course.
We'll get started here with John Clark and then Zach Berman.
Hey, TJ, when Tom Brady is getting that ball out so quick, and I know you didn't face Gronkowski in the first game, but how do you disrupt that timing so he can't hit his first read?
Yeah, it's going to take a full unit to make sure we're on the same page in terms of what we're doing in the back end with coverages and making sure that we're all connected and trying to take away those first, early reads. And, we know he's a guy who's not going to make, forced mistakes or things like that. So we just have to do our best to get to those early reads and then make him uncomfortable in the pocket.
And how important is that physicality with Gronk when you're defending him?
Yeah, I mean, he's known as a physical guy, and you see it, all on film of how he uses his body to get open and, kind of how he moves and certain things like that. So definitely, being physical at point of attack is a huge emphasis right now.
Go ahead, Zach, and then Ed.
Hey, TJ, considering the way Brady likes to use the middle of the field, is this a week when your coverage is maybe the top priority as opposed to run stopping?
I think at the end of the day, he does a good job going off the look of, getting them in the right play, run or pass. So it's really just kind of being tied into doing what we've been doing all year and, reading our keys and playing off each other and making sure we're all on the same page. So I wouldn't say one thing is more, emphasis than the other, but definitely something that, we've seen on film, for the past weeks and something that we're definitely clued into.
Ed and then Les.
Hi, TJ. I want to ask you about the tight ends in general. I asked this question again and yesterday, and they've kind of been a trouble spot, really, for the defense this year, 13 touchdowns allowed. Why is that, do you think?
Yeah, I think they just do a good job of how they deploy them, giving defenses different looks with how they're using them every week. And I think each one of them has their own, kind of set of skills that they do really well that, benefits the whole offense in general. And, and when they get into their big personnel and things like that, we definitely know that, those are the guys who are the playmakers and those are the guys that get the ball oftentimes. So, again, but it just comes down to us, reading our keys, playing how we've been playing, making sure we're all, tied in and connected, and we should be good to go.
Go ahead, Les, and then Mike.
Hey, TJ. In this situation, do you try to avoid thinking, hey, I'm facing Tom Brady in the playoffs, or do you kind of embrace that idea? I mean, it would be easy to get overwhelmed by that idea, given who he is and what he's done.
I mean, yeah, we obviously respect him and respect, who he is as a football player and things like that. But doesn't mean we're scared or anything like that. We're excited for the challenge. We're excited that we're playing a high-powered offense and a really good football team in general. But again, it's on to the next game for us. We're approaching it like a normal week, and when you make it bigger than what it is, that's when mistakes and things happen. So. No, we're treating him like any other quarterback we've played these past weeks.
We'll take two more and then we'll get Kelce. So go ahead, Mike, and then Dave.
Hey, TJ. I know a lot of football players are really superstitious. I was curious if you are, and if you're aware that you guys are undefeated in black pants this season, and if that's come up behind the scenes at all.
Not crazy superstitious. I do love the black pants. I think they're a great look. But no, I mean, I think, we'll go out there and anything. I'm sure some guys have some more thoughts about that and things like that. But for me, I'm wearing whatever we're wearing and we're rolling with that.
Last one here.
Hey, TJ, do you remember what it was like being a rookie and going into the playoffs after, it's a long season for a young guy, what that experience was like and what kind of helped you get through it?
Yeah, I do remember that as a rookie, and just kind of like the weeks leading up to it, and but the one thing I do remember is just our leaders being so locked in on the main goal and so locked in on what our job is, and that we're here for a reason, and at the end of the day, we're playing a game for a living, and that's all you can ask for, to do something that you love and be able to make money doing it. So I think. You hit that wall for a little bit, and then it's like, all right, this is what I want to do, and this is, what we got to do to win, and then you get locked in on the week. But I even think, for this year, we have such good leaders on the team, and our message has been just to try to make sure that everyone's on the same page, because we need everybody, and everyone being locked in and ready to go is a must, especially for once you get into the playoffs, it's a whole different beast.
Thanks for the time, TJ.
Appreciate you guys.
Hey, Jason. How's it going?
How's it going, Martin?
I want to ask you about playoff experience. I mean, obviously there are guys on the Bucs like Brady who's got about 1 million games of experience and stuff. For you guys with a lot of the key young guys like Jalen and Devontae and Landon, et cetera, first playoff game, how much of a difference does that make? And what do you tell those guys about playing in the postseason?
Yeah, I don't know. It's obviously the difference it makes is, is a individual thing. I think certain guys perform differently in the playoffs or under certain circumstances. But I think the biggest thing I can lend to them is like the same thing older guys told me when I was first going into the playoffs, or Chris Long and Malcolm Jenkins mentioned this. When we were going into 2017 playoffs. Is you can't let the the moment or the emotion dictate what you're going to do or how you're going to play. The emotion and the energy and the intensity is going to be really, really high. That is going to absolutely be there, and we already feel that this week in practice. That's naturally going to be ramped up. But really, the same things that lose you games in the regular season lose you games in the playoffs. It always comes down, and even more so, I would say, in playoffs, it comes down to the little minute details, because the games are that much closer, the teams are that much closer. And, you've gone through a whole season where you've fixed things, you've ironed things out, you've game planned, you've done all these things. And it seems like even more so in the playoffs, it comes back to, the root fundamentals and the techniques, and whoever is in the right mindset to go about things that way, I think usually ends out on top.
Go ahead, Jeff, and then Tim.
Jason, what was your experience like testing positive for COVID, and were you sweating it out in terms of your consecutive game streak, and how did that go about you just playing the one snap?
Well, so the COVID obviously, had that last week. Felt abnormally tired after the game. I usually feel pretty good, and I felt extremely tired a little bit, and had a runny nose, a little bit of congestion. So we decided to test. I came up positive, and then I was fortunate enough to get back before the game came by. The coaches and everybody in the building were pretty excited to let me play and continue my streak going on, and get one snap, get out of there, stay healthy, and get into the postseason.
Go ahead, Tim, and then Zach.
Hey, Jason, you guys have really changed your philosophy on offense since the last time you played the Bucs. I'm just wondering how you've noticed sort of the coaches and the team's mindset shift from maybe the first time up of maybe we can't run, or it's hard to run against this team versus where you guys are at. Maybe you can feel like you can run against anybody.
Yeah, I don't know where the coaches how they feel like that, but I think I think we've just been continuing to iron it out all season. Obviously we've run the ball a lot more the second half of the season, and ever since the Tampa Bay Vegas games, we've really put an emphasis on it, and we've had success. But there's going to be times where we're going to need to throw the ball. You're going to need to make plays in the back end, and I think that we've done a good job of adjusting and adapting and continuing to get better in all facets of the game. And I'm a fan of scoring points and winning football games, and however we need to do that and however that gets done is what I care about.
Go ahead, Zach, and then.
Hey, Jason, good seeing you. Nick said today that a message you had for him this week resonated with him. I'm curious, did that come up in the normal course of conversation, or did you feel it was important to seek Nick out this week?
Well, Nick and I talk all the time. I talk with all the coaches, and in particular, whenever we're walking off the field, if we're standing next to each other, just, shooting the what. And Nick always harps on fundamentals and technique and assignment sounds. That's one of our core principles, throughout the whole season. So this is something that he already harps on, and we just happen to be walking, and, it's like, I think it matters even more in the playoffs. And I kind of referenced, what Chris Long had said. He had already watched that, Kobe talking to us from 2017, and it's not rocket science. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still playing football, and in these big games, it's easy to lose track of the little things that have allowed you to get to this point, and what make you successful, no matter what game you're playing in. So, I think that's really just how that happened. It was just an organic, conversation.
Mike and Jonathan.
Hey, Jason. We've talked about it in the last two off seasons, how you've always considered your future and everything like that. Coming back after last year, how much has this season meant to you and the success you guys have had?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I mean, I think obviously, I'm really proud of how the team has fought thus far, and where we've come from. We still got hopefully some games left here, so I don't want to look in retrospect too much. The thing isn't over yet. So, I'm really happy with how our team has improved, continued to get better, continued to work, and I look forward to doing that again this week.
You have time for two more, so go ahead, John, and then Al.
Hey, Jason. You faced a lot of great nose tackles over the years. What are the difficulties that Vita puts in your game in the interior as a whole?
Sure. Well, he's enormous. He's fast and he's smart. Those are three characteristics you don't want any D tackle to have. I think usually most defensive tackles are really players are one-dimensional. They're either really quick, they're either really fast, they're either really big, or they're kind of nothing and just good, okay at everything. And that's when you really get tremendous players. Obviously, is when they have all of these attributes combined, where they have enough quickness and enough suddenness to get on your edge, but they also have enough power and enough strength to run right through you. You can't, take away any one thing of his game without exposing another thing that you're vulnerable to, and that what makes him a special player. And then on top of that, you see that he's a smart player. You see he understands formations. You see, and this is something that I think Todd instills in all of his players. He's a very, very good defensive coordinator who has great knowledge for the game, and you can tell that they are very, very well coached. They're very well coordinated. They understand what they're trying to do as a structure, as a whole, and it's no different with Vita.
All
right, Jason, how is the 2022 version of Jason Kelce different than the 2017 version of Jason Kelce? Is there a difference?
Well, I'm certainly slower. I think I don't know. It's really hard to look back and compare years because there's so many things that go into each year and different variables and different players you're playing with, different coaches. Every team is different every year. That's something we talk about at the start of every season. This team is going to be it. No matter who comes back next year, it's going to be a different team. And, so it's really hard to compare years. So I don't know that I want to do it. But I think, I still have a certain amount of strengths and a skill set that, I can, do a lot of things that, are, advantageous for an offense. And, I don't really try to think about, comparing too much year to year, if that makes sense.
Well, you're wiser, right?
I wish. I'm taking more every hit to the head. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I think I'm wiser in some regards and slower in others. Say that.
All right, thanks for the time, Jason. Hey, Dallas, appreciate you taking the time today. We'll get started here with John Clark and then Bo Wolf.
Hey, Dallas, I know you didn't get to play in that first game against Tampa Bay, and Lane Johnson was not there as well. Is there kind of a general sense of the team that it's pretty satisfying and gratifying to be able to get another shot at Tampa Bay with this kind of identity that you have of running the ball? Because you didn't really have that in that game when they beat you here 3 months ago.
Yeah, for myself, I'm really excited to play Tampa Bay. I missed that opportunity early in the year with the COVID. So to play them, a new opponent, I'm really excited for. And like you said, yeah, I think the entire team is really excited. Looking at that last game, I feel like it's not really the same team that we got now. Players-wise, it's pretty similar, but, the way we attack teams is completely different. Like you said, running the ball, just the way our offense is now has changed since week 4. So I think everybody's really excited to go back. Obviously, you're playing in the playoffs. You're playing the defending world champion. So obviously it's going to be a really fun game, a great atmosphere, and the whole team's really excited to go down there.
Go ahead, Bo, and then Jeff McLean.
Hey, Dallas. Nick Sirianni has sort of given a lot of credit to, the team's leaders for the turnaround this season. I wonder how much credit you give Nick for you guys turning things around.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves all the credit too. It's not a one-person show, football. It takes the whole team, and he's the ultimate leader of this team, and he's done an incredible job just each week coming with a message that relates to all of us and we can keep going. Sitting at 2-5 for a first-year coach, I'm sure isn't easy, but, he came in here with the same energy every day, and, he would just say we need to double down on the process. The process we have is the right process. We just need to continue to believe in it, and eventually the results are going to show. So, you got to give him a lot of credit to turn it around, to get us to the spot where we are. Yeah, it's been a fun year. It's been crazy, and a lot of credit to Nick.
We'll go to Josh and then John McMullen.
Hey, Dallas. What have you noticed about Jalen's preparation this week? This weekend, he'll become the youngest quarterback in franchise history to start in a playoff game.
I really haven't noticed anything different. Obviously, it's still early in the week. But ever since Jalen was here as a rookie, he's always been very ready to go. He's very detailed, everything like that. So I'm assuming it's going to stay the same. But when it comes time Sunday, I know Jalen's going to be ready to go, and I know he knows that we're all going to be ready to go as well.
Go ahead, John, and then Mike.
Hi, Dallas. Curious, I know you have to be hyper focused, obviously, on Tampa's defense, but when you see another great tight end on the other side, does it, kind of perk your ears up and say, I want to compete with this guy and Gronk and how do you handle that type of thing?
Yeah, to an extent. I guess you can compete in them with yards or catches or, who has the better blocks. I don't really worry too much about what other tight ends are doing. I love the fact that we get to play good tight ends. All year we've got to play a lot of the top tight ends in the NFL. And, I always tell the defense to lock them up first and foremost. But, it's cool to be able to be on the same field as them, watch them when the defense is out there and just kind of see what they're doing. To do it in person is a little bit different than watching it in film. So it's really cool. It'll be the first time I get to see Gronk. Obviously, being a tight end in college and high school, watching him, he's been great for a long time. So hopefully, our defense holds him in check. He doesn't have a great game against him, but really excited to be on the same field as him.
We have time for two more, so we'll go to Mike and then Tim.
Hey, Dallas. This will be the third playoff trip for you in 4 years. The past two times you guys kind of had to play in. This time you were able to hit some starters. I know you're on the list, but still, what's been the difference the last couple of weeks compared to the final few weeks of the two previous playoff runs for you?
Yeah, it was pretty similar all the way up until that last week. It was kind of must-win games. My first year, I feel like we went on a streak at the end of the year. We had to win them all, snuck in. Same thing. My second year, last year, we weren't able to make it. And then this year. But, it's kind of been the same. It's week in and week out throughout the season. You want to keep getting better and better. You don't ever want to plateau or start regressing. So it's kind of the same thing as the years pass. I'm just focusing on the day and getting better today. And then, when Sunday comes around, I'll be ready.
Go ahead, Tim.
Hey, Dallas, where does Gronk rank in your pantheon of tight ends? And is there an area of his game that you've really studied that you think kind of shows up in yours?
Yeah. For me, he's definitely at the top or, top 2, top 3 that I feel like has ever played the game. But, he's an all-around tight end. He's a 3-down tight end. He does a great job blocking. He does a great job running his routes. He's fast. He's physical. That's probably my favorite thing when he gets the ball in his hand, what he does with it. Defenders don't want to tackle him, and he's looking to make the defenders punish. So that's something that I feel like took out of his book into mine, and that's kind of what I pride myself in when I get the ball in my hand as well.
All right, thanks for the time, Dallas. Hey, Jordan, thanks for taking the time today. We'll get started here with Josh and then John McMullen.
Hey, Jordan, how's it going?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good. Considering that the team is playing in Tampa Bay this weekend, I was wondering if you could rewind a little bit to the beginning of your football career when you trained at IMG down there in Bradenton, and just share maybe a memory or two that you have from that part of your career and, to the point that you've gotten to now.
Yeah, Tampa will always hold a special place in my heart, just because of where the program was held at, down in Bradenton, actually. It's about an hour and 20 minutes drive, I think, south. And yeah, I think, for me, coming from the program and representing that program and somebody who, invested and trusted in the program down there, that would probably be my greatest memory, making the most out of it and making the relationships that I got from it, with the other guys in the program, guys from Germany, from England, and where else? France. So for me, those guys will always be held close to my heart. I always see them as brothers, and that'll probably be the most significant thing I'll take away from my early days in Tampa.
Go ahead, John, and then Les.
Hey, Jordan. I know you still got work to do, obviously, this weekend, but there was a pretty high-profile site that came out this week and graded you as the second best left tackle in the NFL. Do you ever see things like that? Do you ever look at that? Do you ever think how far you've come since that time you were in South Florida, thinking about becoming a professional football player?
Nah, mate, I don't get too invested in those kind of things. I think that's just the way that stout kind of taught me, kind of like the poison, taking spoonfuls of poison. And so, I can look, if I'm, because I'm really hard on myself, I know when I'm putting out a good grade in the game and when I'm not. And so for me, that's enough.
Go ahead, Les, and then Ed.
Hey, Jordan. So, first playoff game, how is it different?
I don't think it is, to be honest. I think the way we're going to attack it is just to trust in the process they got here. We told you guys week in and week out, coming up to this point, that we were always going to trust in the process and focus on getting 1% better every day and the rent's due every day. And so for us, it's still the same mentality, but doubling down on the same mentality. I think that might be the only thing that we change, just locking in on the finer details. And so, I don't think much is going to change, just the same process that got us here, we're going to keep trusting in.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ed, and then Chris Franklin.
Yeah, hi, Jordan. Last game, you were coming off an injury when you played Tampa, and you played right tackle. You didn't have Lane Johnson. I guess you're a little more comfortable going into this game on the left side, which is your right side, I guess. Just talk about having Lane back for this game, and you're more comfortable on that left side.
Yeah, obviously, from that first game, a lot has changed, and so getting the guys that we didn't have in that game back, like Lane, is going to be detrimental. It's going to be. I'm not going to swear. I promise I won't swear, but I was. But it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome to see how strength versus strength. I feel like we've come a long way in building an identity for the O-line, and so to get Lane back and to go back at playing left tackle, for me, it's going to be an important game for me, just because I still had that chip on my shoulder from when we lost the first time, and so. We're going to go out and trust in the game plan and execute the game plan to the detail.
Go ahead, Chris, and then Zach.
Hey, Jordan, just curious, when you were in Australia, did you follow along with the NFL playoffs at all? And now that you're there, I mean, what does it feel like, to be experiencing the atmosphere? Has anybody told you what to expect at all?
To be honest, I only watched the Super Bowls, not going to lie. And half the time it was for the halftime performances. And so being here now, it's kind of, being in the postseason, it's kind of a special moment for me just to acknowledge how far I've come, but at the same time, put my head down and keep working and trusting in the same thing that got me here. And so I don't really like to look ahead. I like to be where my feet are at.
Zach, and then Martin.
Hey, Jordan, in that Week 18 game, you were one of the few starters who was in uniform, and you were out there in pre-games. Was there any particular reason for that? Was it just a matter of you can only have a certain amount of guys inactive, or did you want to go through the process before the game?
I think that's a Sirianni question, but they told me that I was dressing, and so for me, even before game day, I still went through my routines on the Saturday night, Sunday morning. For me, it's just to keep it the same. You guys must think I'm like some recorder or something because I say the same things every week, but it's honestly what I believe in. I just stick to the same things that I've been doing that got us here, and that's what I did. On that Week 18 game, just keep doing the same things. Went through my same warm up, and same game day preparation, really.
Yeah, that's why I was curious about it. I mean, wasn't it important for you to have that process before?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think just to be consistent. I think the hardest thing to do in the NFL is to be consistent. And so for me, again, it's the details, it's the process.
We'll take two more. Go ahead, Martin, and then Ruben.
Hey, Jordan. You were on the team back in 2019. I mean, I know you weren't really playing back then. When you guys had to win the last 4 games to get in the playoffs, much like this year, and obviously you saw like Carson Wentz kind of rise to the occasion. And then did you see anything different in the way like Jalen Hurts played these last 3 games, the last 3 games that he played in, to get you guys to this point that kind of like convinced you that he's, ready for this stage and everything?
Yeah, 100%. He's been more locked in and more accountable, holding us accountable and holding himself accountable as well, and making the right calls, reading the right progressions. And so, I think for him, it was important for him to step up. When you wear that C logo on your jersey, I think it adds on a lot more pressure, but he handles it well, man. He's such a professional. He's such a true leader. And he works hard, man. He works hard to get what he wants, man. And he shares that with us. He tells us what he wants, the goals. And you see him in those videos that our social media team releases. You see the kind of leader he is, the way he talks to us, and the way he leads on the field.
Go ahead, Rube.
Hey, Jordan, 2018 and 2019, you were here, you were on the team, and you weren't playing. What do you remember about the playoffs back then, watching them? And, did you find yourself thinking about one day that'll be me? Were you in that place where you kind of were dreaming about being out there yourself?
I think there was a time or a moment where I was thinking like that. One day it was going to be me. But, coming off injuries, for me, the biggest thing was dealing with my injury first. Like I said, I don't like to look too far down the road. I like to be where my feet are at. And, Mac Hollins, when Mac Hollins was here, he would always tell me that, to be where my feet are at. And so that was one thing that I took away from Mac Hollins my rookie year and 2019 when we were both here. So, yeah.
Thanks for the time, Jordan.
Thanks, guys.